What do you make of the merger of sort of comedy and politics? So you're a comedian, you label yourself a comedian, everybody knows you as a comedian, but you do see political actors. President Trump's basically a stand-up comic. Most of what he does is political comedy disguised as politics. And what this means is that he crosses lines that you will cross, but people are not sure what to make of it. Are we supposed to take it like comedy, or are we supposed to take it like politics?
Yeah.
Is he just being politically incorrect as a comedian, or is he just being a jackass?
I think he's thoughtless. I think there's a big difference. I mean, there's no question that I know where the line is, and I know how to walk up to it and dance on the line and pull it back. You know, if I cross the line, it's very deliberate. I don't think that's the case with President Donald Trump. I genuinely don't think he knows. But one thing that I do think is interesting about Donald Trump, because obviously you weren't a big fan of his, and in a lot of ways still aren't, and I was not at all during the primaries, and in a lot of ways I'm still not. I think we're seeing a transition with President Trump that you've seen with a lot of young conservatives who we reach. I think he was a guy who gave to Democrats for most of his life, who really just, he was doing business in New York. I don't really think he was a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat either.
No.
I think he was whatever he needed to get his latest structure with his name emblazoned across it erected. I think what you're seeing now, though, is he's come in, he thought the left would play ball a little bit, and they've been so vicious, which we've known them to be. They've attacked his family personally, where now just, okay, screw you, and he's becoming more conservative. I think we're seeing a genuine transition of him becoming more right-wing. Kind of like, I hate to say it, but Ebenezer Scrooge later in life. Everyone can kind of be redeemed, where he's like, I got it wrong all these years. I think we're seeing that with President Trump. I do think there's some of that.
But how do we deal with the fact that you're not toxic in the same way to young people? So young people watch your show because they know you're a comedy guy.
Right.
They're willing to give you the benefit of the doubt when you say something that's offensive because, as you say, you know what's offensive, you know what's not, and if you're being offensive, it's generally being deliberately offensive for comedic purposes. President Trump just sort of says things, and he's and he's very toxic for young people. I mean, there's no question. You look at the polls, and among young people, he's wildly unpopular. How do we continue to maintain lines or draw lines? What do you think we ought to do?
Well, here's one thing I'll say. He's unpopular in the sense that a lot of your fans and my fans probably aren't huge Trump supporters. That being said, they do like that someone has sort of thrown the gloves off a little bit. So I think it's important to look at how the question is being framed. You know, kind of like when they say, oh, 90% of Americans are pro-abortion. But then when you give them a cutoff where you show them a fetal chart, they got a fetal development chart, that changes, right? So I think with Donald Trump, if you were to ask me, are you a Donald Trump fan? I'd probably answer no. But if you were to ask me, do you think that Donald Trump has done a relatively good job as president? I'd probably say yes. If you would ask me, I think we would both agree on this, culturally, definitely he's opened the door for conservatives to not be so ashamed of what they are, even though he's not one of them. But I don't think Marco Rubio would have done this. I don't think even Senator Ted Cruz, I don't think Chris Christie obviously would have gone after the media in the same way that Donald Trump has. So I think even though, this thing is squeaking, is this being caught up on your, is it okay?
It's totally fine.
All right, fine. I'm just making sure, it's the replication. It's not me, I just want to make sure, hold on.
You're okay, dude. It's fine.
No, I'm making sure that people know it's not me, is my point, Ben. This is important for me. It's not everything is about you. There you go. You can hear the squeak. It's the chair.
Okay.
So I think that's what's important about President Donald Trump. I think even though people may not like him, I think a lot of young people are happy to see the burdens, the shackles of political correctness kind of be thrown off, and he has helped pave the way for them.